Hi, my name is Mashanta and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to swatch all the Rare Beauty blushes that I have in my collection. I don't have many. I have around 6 Rare Beauty blushes. 5 of them are the typical liquid blush formula. The 6th one is in the melting blush pot formula. I hope you find this useful and I hope you enjoy. By the way, I am completely barefaced. I wanted to show how the blushes melt into the skin, show up on my skin, which is why I am barefaced. So you might see the odd blemish here and there, but I hope you'll forgive me for that. And you know what? It's okay to have blemishes on your skin. So first up, I have the Rare Beauty blush in the shade Encourage. This is a full-size blush, cool toned pink, which honestly, if you ask me, is a bit too light for me on my skin. There are 3 different ways in which you can apply these blush shades. You can use your fingers, you can use a sponge, or you can use a brush. I'm going to try showing how all 3 methods look when it comes to this formula, and of course talk you through my preferred method of application. The way I like to go is I put it here on the apples of my cheeks, and then I'm just going in with my fingers. You can see as I'm going in, it has a very dewy finish, but don't worry, that does dry down. While it is pigmented, because of my skin tone, I can be generous with it. But if you're lighter than me, I would say be very careful in terms of putting this directly on your skin. But because I am the skin tone that I am, I can get away with putting so much of this on my skin and not looking like a clown. And any excess, I like dabbing it on my nose as well sometimes to just give myself a youthful glow. And you can see it really sinks into the skin. It is barely there. I needed a lot of it, and it does have a dewy finish on my skin. It does look a lot more noticeable in person. It hasn't disappeared completely or sunk into the skin because I have used my fingers. If I used a brush or a sponge, it would have really disappeared. But you can see it's also barely there, and I used a lot of it. So this is the shade Encourage. It's quite light, so if you're looking for something that packs a punch, then this might not be the color for you if you're in and around my skin tone. Of course, if you're lighter than me, then you have to be careful as you use this and careful as you apply. But I think it does give a really pretty healthy glow. I feel younger because I've used this. I don't know, let me know if this is in my head. That's Encourage, and I will take this off and come back right in. I've taken all the blush off. I don't know if you can see, but I have like the cotton pad with all the blush off. Next, I have a mini size of the Rare Beauty blush, and this is in the shade Truth. This, if you see, is a deeper version of Encourage that we had just swatched. And this is how it looks. I'm trying to use my fingers again. Wow, you can see it's quite deep if you're not careful. So I'm going to use both my fingers. I know I look like a bit of a maniac because I'm constantly smiling, but I am smiling so I can find the apples of my cheeks. Like so. Oh, this is so pretty. In fact, if I wanted to, I could put a bit more, but if you're looking for a more believable, natural finish, I think this quantity is perfect. But if you want to be a bit more out there, you can definitely go with more of the blush. I think this is super pretty. To be honest, I actually prefer this Truth to Encourage because Encourage honestly really melts into the skin. This one, actually the finish is sort of dewy. It does make my skin glow, but it doesn't make it oily. I find Rare Beauty blushes are an amazing formula, which is why I have so many of the colors in the first place. So if you're a beginner to blushes, then I highly recommend the Rare Beauty formula, especially because they do have a lot of minis. I would just say that be a little more careful because these are quite pigmented. So you need a lot of practice to get the hang of the right amount to apply on your face, especially if you're trying this method of, going directly with your fingers. But this is the Rare Beauty blush in the shade Truth, and If you ask me, Truth versus Encourage, I do prefer Truth. Let me just quickly swatch Encourage as well, so you can see how these two compare and like the differences between the two. So when I swatch them, you can see the difference. This is Encourage and this is Truth. Like they're literally worlds apart in terms of blush, but given how they melt into the skin, you don't see that much of a difference. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to take this off and come back with the next one. And now it's time for another blush. This is a different formula. A Rare Beauty Melting Blush in the shade Nearly Berry. You can see this is slightly swatched. I love the packaging. I think it's so beautiful, so compact. They were limited shades in this range, I think just 5 or 6. They're not very brown skin friendly, so I thought this was the one that would be foolproof. I didn't really want to test it out in store because you don't know how long these testers are out there. You don't know whose fingers are going into these products. So I honestly try to avoid testing in store, even though it's like anti the point of testers, but that's just me. So anyway, this is the Rare Beauty Melting Blush, and I have used this once, and it's such an interesting formula. It's a balm. It comes like this, but it dries down to like a powdery matte finish. Like as I'm swatching it, I can feel it turn to powder, which I thought was very, very cool. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to apply it with my fingers and then blend it out with this blush brush that I have. I think this is from ColourPop. Yes, this is from ColourPop, and this is the F29 brush. So I'm just going in. As you can see, I'm going to be generous because it's not as scary as it looks, yeah? So I'm going in with my brush now. And just using swirling motions to diffuse the color. And that's how it looks. I think, see, while it looks like pigmented on my finger, it's dried down already. So with this blush, you want to work quickly. You don't want to dilly-dally. So I'm going to go in with this side. I'm just gonna... The thing with using an instrument, right, either a brush or a sponge, while you get better control, you always run the risk of the product like getting onto the brush or the sponge. So that's just something you want to keep in mind. And any excess, I'm going to try putting it on my nose just to give it like that cute... What was it? Was that the cool girl makeup look, you know? Honestly, I think this looks very similar to the blush in Truth. So let me just swatch it. You can see this is how Nearly Neutral looks, whereas Truth looks like this. So Truth is like a more purple version of Nearly Neutral, whereas Nearly Neutral is more a pinky version, I would say. But net the result when I blend it out on my skin, it pretty much looks the same. It gives a very nice natural flush of color, in my opinion. I think it looks really, really nice. Honestly, I don't know why I was scared of blushes for the longest time. I never used blushes till maybe like 4 years ago. Like I genuinely definitely never used blushes, and I feel like I was missing out because as I'm applying these and I'm just looking at myself, I am completely barefaced, by the way, except for a bit of lip color, and I do find that they really enhance and give me like a very youthful look. Tell me it's not in my head. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you use blush regularly? If yes, why? If not, why not? I would love to get your thoughts. Are you scared of blush? I can sort of help you navigate the blush world out, because honestly, I've gone through it myself. And now I think blushes is like one of my biggest product categories in my makeup collection. I have powder blushes, I have liquid blushes, I have cream blushes. Like, it's a world that I just can't seem to get enough of. So that was the third Rare Beauty blush that I had. This is the Melting Blush in the shade Nearly Berry, and I'm going to take this off and come back for the next 3. Hi, next I'm back with another Rare Beauty blush. I should stop saying Rare Beauty. I mean, this entire video is about Rare Beauty blushes, but you get the drift. This is the next liquid blush in the shade Love, and it's a lovely peachy formula. And fun fact, this was the first Rare Beauty blush that I tried, and I quickly fell in love with the formula. It can look quite orange, but don't get scared, don't get intimidated. It's quite pigmented, but because we have a brush, I'm not too worried. I'm gonna pop some here. Brush to the rescue, it's the same brush from before. And you can see, while that dot looked super pigmented, the formula itself is very easy because it melts into the skin. You don't have to be too scared. And honestly, if you use too much of blush, you've always got foundation, concealer, powder to the rescue, honestly. So it's not the end of the world to use too much of the blush. And you can see that's a lot, but that's where the blending comes in. And you know what's interesting is I find this formula is not as dewy as the ones that we tried earlier. I wonder if they reformulated this, because this one is something that I bought probably 2 years ago now. So you can see the difference between this side and this side. Yeah, this definitely dries down easier to a more powdery finish versus the dewy finish that the first two blushes left, even though they were from the same product range. Excuse me if I'm looking this side a bit. I'm just using the viewfinder as a mirror, it's just easier that way, and you also get more of a close-up. Ooh, that looks nice. You can see leaves a really peachy flushed finish, which I really like. It's hard to say how different this is from the pink blush earlier. It's a very minute, subtle difference, but there is a difference nevertheless. If I wanted to pack in a bit more punch, I would go in with some more, but honestly, for the day-to-day, I think this is fine. You can see I've also somewhat brought the placement a little down, and honestly, I think this is the first time I'm applying blush not here and here, but I like it. It looks really nice. It definitely looks nice in person. Honestly, it was so easy to use. So don't get intimidated by the pigment. Don't get intimidated if it looks too deep, because it really dries down to a super powdery finish. It feels like I have nothing on, to be honest. That was the liquid blush in the shade Love. I really like this formula. In fact, let me know if you would want to see a makeup look with just peachy tones. That's a look that I really am partial to, but I'm not sure if many people would like that. But if you are in the mood for something like that, I'm very happy to create a video around that makeup look. Next, I have a mini liquid blush, and this is in the shade Grateful. It's like a bright orangish red. I haven't used this yet, so I wonder how this will look on my skin. This is how it looks. It's wow, that's like super bright. It's straight up orange. To be honest, I'm a little nervous about how this could look on me, so here goes. Putting it on the apples of my cheeks, careful to do it on the high points, and wow, that actually blends out really pretty. It looks very similar to Love, no? That we just used. Even though when you swatch it, it looks very different, but blended out, it looks extremely similar. I like it. I think it's cute, perfect for travel. So I like that one is in a full size, whereas another is in the mini. And you can see again, this dries down to more a dewy finish, whereas Love dried down to a super powdery, almost matte finish. So I think that's just interesting to note. Interesting, it really blends out to be like a peachish orange rather than a full-on red. And I do think it needs a bit more here. If I may say so, this makes me look like a doll. Like the really flushed cheeks, like with the headband and this blush. I do think I look like a nice round chubby doll. And when I blend it out, see, it looks straight up orange. So it's not red. If you were considering this, it's actually orange. Wow, it's quite It's quite extreme in real life, to be honest, because especially because I don't have any makeup, so this contrast with my real skin and the blush is a lot, but on the camera I think it's a lot more forgiving. So if I'm very honest, I would use a lot less of this, blend this out a bit more, and use it only if I have makeup on, because without makeup it really looks like I'm having some sort of allergic reaction. That's my take anyway. So this was Grateful. Was this Grateful? Yes, this was Grateful from the Rare Beauty blush, and 5 down, and we have 1 more to go, and the last one I'm going to try showing it to you with a sponge. And now we are down to our last Rare Beauty blush. This is in the shade Faith, and it's a really deep, almost purple blush. I actually bought this very recently, maybe less than a month ago, for this video. So please, I hope you can see the effort that I'm making when I put these videos out there. Anyway, so this is the Rare Beauty blush in the shade Faith. I thought it was a very pretty deep color, and I was curious to see how this would look on someone of my skin tone. They don't stock the minis in the city where I live, so I had to buy the full size, but I was very confident that I would find enough use for this, so I decided to invest in this blush. And you can see it's a super purple. It's literally straight up purple. Wow, that is super purple. So I'm going to be a little careful this time. I have this sponge with me. It's a little hard feeling. I think this is from PAC, but I don't really remember. Oh wow. You know, when it comes to using the blush, you can see, using the sponge, so you can see so much of the product goes in there. So I'm going to try my hand at, literally try my hand at blending this with my fingers, just to see how this looks. That gives you a better feel of the color, to be honest. And any excess, I'm putting it on the other side, spreading it out. Wow, this looks really pretty. And wow, honestly, that is such a pretty color. And the best part is it's different from what I own in the collection. So I think it blends out beautifully. And this one also is similar to Love in the sense that it dries down to like a powdery matte finish. I think it looks super pretty, and you can see it's so deceptive because here it's so deep, but blended out in the right quantity with the right instrument, it can look very, very doable. And when I see myself, it does blend out to a cool tone pink, which is similar to what we were seeing in others as well. A lot of these colors you have to be careful. I would recommend testing these out on your hands, spreading them. See, for example, it was so purple, but when you spread them, you get to see that it's actually a cool tone pink. So if I'm being very honest, I don't think I needed 6 different blushes from Rare Beauty. I think 2 to 3 would have still given me the same impact that I'm getting from these 6. At least I'm trying it and I'm able to show it to you, and so you won't make the same mistake that I did. I would recommend, when it comes to these blushes, practice first. Initially, I used to put them on my hand and then use a brush to put them on, because they can be quite pigmented, especially if you're lighter than me. This comes with a lot of products, so you really don't need the full size. So if possible, I would say invest in the minis. Just try the minis out, because they're also great for travel and they also save you a bit of money. From a formula standpoint, some of them are dewy, some of them are matte. I don't know where they say whether it's dewy or matte. I think they say it on the outer packaging, but it never registered for me, so I'm realizing it now only when I'm trying them back to back. So I just hope this video showcase was helpful to you. Let me know which was your favorite shade in the Rare Beauty blush collection. Do you already have these blushes before? Let me know what your favorite is from that. And I hope you found this video helpful. Please let me know your thoughts and comments below. If you like me, like this video, like the Vitalist channel, I would really love it if you would consider liking this, literally liking this video, spreading the word, subscribing, getting your friends to subscribe, because it really helps me to invest in these beauty products, experiment more in these beauty products, and share them with you. I hope you found this video helpful. I'll see you around. Bye.